In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the legislative branch of the federal government. The legislative branch we call Congress, and you'll see in a moment includes the House of Representatives and the Senate, and they are the lawmakers for the nation. Do take note of the building on the right. That is the Capitol building where both the Senate and the House meet. It, of course, is located in Washington, D.C. We see here that the Senate has 100 senators. There are 2 per state, and the term of a senator is 6 years. So typically in every even-numbered year, a third of the Senate is up for election. It's not as if all 100 senators come up every 6th year. It's divided into a 33 one year, 33 2 years later, 34 2 years after that. The House of Representatives has 435 members, called members of Congress or representatives. Their term is 2 years, and all of them are up every even-numbered year. A state's number of representatives in the House is determined based on its state's population. Minimum number of representatives that a state can have is 1, and there are several fairly low populated states that do have a single representative for the entire state. In order to determine the state's population, the census includes a provision, I should say the Constitution includes a provision for a census or a population count taken every 10 years in years ending in 0. This map from the 2010 census shows the states that gained and lost members and representatives in the House. We can see actually most of the country, the gray shaded states, had no change in the number of representatives, but a number of the northeastern states and a couple of the farm states lost 1 or 2 seats in the House, and a number of states in both the southeast and southwest gained 1 or 2 seats. Texas, of course, is an exception. Texas gained 4 seats in the House. This does kind of show us that there was a population movement out of the Northeast and the Chicago, Missouri area, Rust Belt as well with Ohio and Michigan, and into several of the southern states, both Southeast and Southwest. We know that Congress's main job is to make laws, and the process of making laws involves drafting bills. And the reality is most bills that are drafted die at or are killed at some point along the line and never become law. Let's take a quick look at the process by which a bill becomes a law. Now, as we can see at the top here, that a bill can be introduced in either the House of Representatives or the Senate, where it is given a number and then sent to its appropriate committee. It's kind of unwieldy for 435 individuals in the House to deal with every single bill that's introduced. So what the House and the Senate have done have created smaller standing committees that cover different topics. So depending on the topic of the bill, it will go in front of that committee, where the committee will hold hearings and call in experts to testify, both for and against the bill, and ultimately make a decision whether or not the full House or the full Senate should take action on the bill. Most bills die right here in committee and never see the light of day after that. But let's pretend our bill makes it out of the House committee where it is. It will then go to the full House of Representatives for debate and discussion and ultimately a vote. Bills do die here too. Let's pretend ours is passed out of the House of Representatives. Then it would go over to the Senate where the same exact thing happens. It goes into committee, it's debate and discussed, opportunity for the bill to die right there. If it makes it out of committee, it then goes to the full Senate for debate and discussion, where again it could die. And if it makes it out, we then have a bill that has passed the House and passed the Senate, but chances are that bill looks very different. The bill that came out of the House and the bill that came out of the Senate are not identical bills. And what we see here is a conference committee made up of senators and representatives to iron out the differences in the bill and create one single bill, which then goes back to the full Senate and full House for a quick up or down revote. No debate, no discussion. Either you like it as it is or you don't. Assuming the bill is passed again out of both houses, now it can go to the president's desk for his signature. But you know that he doesn't have to sign it into law. He can veto the bill. Let's assume for a moment he signs it into law. Now you have the creation of a new law. There is one exception to the rule that bills can start in either house, and you see that here. Revenue bills, bills involving taxation, bills involving raising money for the government, have to start in the House of Representatives first. Remember, members of the House are up for election every other year, so they have to face their constituents much more quickly than a senator might have to. This is why revenue bills start in the House. It gives the American people more influence over taxation issues. Now, we can't talk about the process of making laws without talking about the influence that outsiders try to exert on lawmakers. We're looking at Congress in this example specifically, but lobbying also occurs at the state level as well, and county levels of government. Anywhere you've got a legislative group of people that have influence, that have the ability to pass laws, and you're going to have folks that are going to want, for whatever reason, legislators to vote a certain way on certain bills that are before the legislature. So lobbyists attempt to influence lawmakers on bills that are pending before them to vote one way or another, depending on how the interest group wants them to vote. And there are many, many different interest groups, from business-related interest groups to non-business related interest groups, all different kinds of groups of people that get together and attempt to influence lawmakers to vote yay or nay on bills that are pending. Many of these groups will also attempt to work to get people elected to Congress, in this case, that would be favorably inclined to vote in ways that on bills that are important to them or their group. So then, just to sum up, Congress makes laws for the nation. Bills must pass both the House and the Senate in order for them to become law. And lobbyists try to influence lawmakers to vote certain ways on pending legislation. Maybe an example would help clear this up. Let's take a bill that is a anti-gun bill that Congress is debating. All right, you have anti-gun groups that would try to encourage members of Congress to vote for that anti-gun bill. You also have pro-gun organizations, the biggest of which is probably the National Rifle Association, that would encourage lawmakers to vote against an anti-gun bill. The reason these lobbyists can potentially have so much influence over members of Congress is that running for Congress is expensive. And lobbying groups have the ability, as do individuals, to contribute to the re-election campaigns of members of Congress. So in many ways, it's the money that can be provided by many of these interest groups that the congressmen are interested in getting. Again, not for their personal pocket, that would be bribe taking and that's illegal, but to have contributed to their bank accounts titled the Committee to Re-elect So-and-so. That's why lobbying groups have so much influence over members of Congress.